Welcome back to part 2, and in this section we're going to investigate some of the unusual things you can do with the wave stitches, as well as some stitches that aren't even published in the workbooks or in the user's manual. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now we're going to work on a different stitch, or the same stitch, same wave, but a different setting that isn't in the books at all. So let's see if this works. What if I want a really wide wave stitch? A much wider one than we've been doing before. Everything will pretty much stay the same, but I'm going to change the position of the needle, and let's see what happens. And I'm going to try and change this. The threading would all stay the same. The only thing I'm going to be changing is the position of the needle. I'm going to move it over to the 01 position. I have changed the needle to the 01 position, and the only other thing I'm going to change here, I'm going to change this from the B. Okay, I'm going to move that up to A. Okay, here it is compared to done on, actually it worked. It is flatter. This is the one I just did. This is using the A, this is using the 02 needle. It is wider and it is flatter. So I'll move this to the smallest position. Try it one more time. Now this time I'm using the smallest it will go, the blade width. All right, let's try this. I don't see a lot of difference. It's a little bit narrower than the one I did with the widest, but not a whole lot. And compared to the original wide, regular standard, using the widest setting, it's a little bigger, so that gives you the biggest. Okay. So we're going to start with threading the machine for a 3-thread rolled wave stitch. And this one is covered in the cheat sheet that came with your machine. So I'm going to be using woolly nylon, so therefore I'm going to have to use a thread cradle. I know you know how to thread this, but we're going to review if you haven't watched it or you didn't watch part 1. So we're going to go ahead and thread this machine. I have an older Evolve, but this will work on any of the machines that can do the wave stitch. Okay, so I am locking down my threading tubes. I'm going to thread the lower looper as usual, so this goes in here into this 4th slot right here. This does not like to go through the jet air threading too easily because it's very wispy and it tends to fly back out. It won't stay. So what I do is I like to use a thread cradle, and what a thread cradle is you take about a yard of thread. You're going to put the 2 cut ends together, roll them a little bit, put them in the port that you want to use, which is the lower looper port. Make sure your presser foot is up. And however you operate the pump, whether it be electronically or with the pump here. And I'm going to put this cut end inside this loop right here and pull it through. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, so I pull it through. The upper looper normally goes into this slot, but for the wave it's going to go here. Excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to put this in the upper looper. I'm going to use the same thread cradle. Okay, hold on to the loop end, shoot it through, and I'm going to take the white thread, which is the woolly nylon, and pull it through. There it is. And you just simply pull it through. Okay, I'm going to put those behind the foot. Okay, and now we're going to thread the needle. Needle, normally I'm using the right needle, so therefore normally the right needle goes into this slot, but instead we're going to be using this fourth slot, fourth from the right. And now it goes up and around and then into the needle. And I'm going to use my trusty needle threader. You have the triangle. You're going to take your thread and put it across. Then you're going to gently push straight back and till it goes in, and then we'll pull it through. Sorry, I'm in a funny angle. This is getting on my nerves. And I'll pull it through. Okay. Now I'm going to hold on to all three threads, raise the presser foot, and pull back. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pull back on these threads, so that way I know they're well seated into the tension guides. Okay. My settings for this are I'm using the O2 or the right needle. I'm going to have the length at 1 to 1.5 R, and the R means rolled, so you go past 0 until you get literally one click down into the rolled edge settings. My width is at its narrowest, which is 3.0, or you could have it any width depending on what thickness you want. Okay, I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to put this on C, the stitch selector on C. The wave selector is on W. Blade is up. Everything is ready to go. I'm going to release my threading tubes and let's do a test. Okay, I'm going to lower my presser foot, and here we go. Let's test it. Okay, works. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do with the wave stitch. When I first saw this stitch, I wasn't that impressed. Okay, because I thought, when you look at it, it probably gets similar results using a variegated thread, but not quite. This is almost a three-dimensional, so let's go ahead and stitch a little more of this. I want it to cut. Here it is finished. It's really pretty. It's got a three-dimensionality to it. Like I said, when I first saw it, I said, that looks like variegated thread. Wasn't that impressed. But then I realized if I cut little strips, this becomes an amazing piping for that you can insert into the binding of your quilts, and it gives it real interest that you didn't think you would get. A lot of times I like to use that chunky woolly nylon, which is even thicker, and it looks even fuller and more three-dimensional, but it actually is creates a 1/8 inch cording. So you could cut it using those cutting tools that we talked about in the last video, but it really is nice. You could also use the beading foot and put in wiring. There's another thing you could do with this. You could put in the fishing line to make it thicker. So there's lots of uses for this, and it really looks nice at the edges of pockets and trim and piping into garments. Okay. Here's the stitch you've been waiting for. This is the one that is not in our books. It's not on the Babylock YouTube channel that I know of. It might be in the Sew Ed pages. I'll give you the link in the description below to get to the Sew Ed. But this is the 3-thread Flatlock Wave. This is similar to the pin tuck. However, this is being able to do a total flat lock where this is actually seaming it, but the flat lock, which means that that fabric will go nice and flat and be able to make the wave on the inside of a fabric, a full wave, without having a pin tuck. Okay. All right, so it's got some strange threading. If you want a PDF copy of this page to show you how to thread it, then send me an email request at waltzquilt@yahoo.com and I'll send you this page, or the PDF of this page here. This is saying you have the O2 needle in, and that I do have. Blade length, stitch length is 1 to 3. I've got it at 0.5 because I like mine nice and, well, I'll go to 1. Okay. Stitch width is 3.5, which is the same thing as the M. No change there. Stitch selector is at D. Okay, because we're doing a flat lock. Wave selector is at wave. This is up. Blade position is engaged. Knife cover in the subsidiary looper is not engaged. Why? Because this is a 3-thread flat lock. We engage the subsidiary loopers when we have a 2-thread flat lock. Okay, so now the threading is odd. Okay, so this is the lower looper. It's going to go in as usual. Okay, so in as usual. Let me get my thread cradle. Lock my threading tubes down. Put this in here, lower looper. It's on lower. Okay. And this goes inside the loop as usual. And pull it through. Make sure that presser foot is up. Okay, put that underneath. Okay, upper looper. Here's where we go weird. Okay, I'm using the woolly nylon again. And this time I am going, let's see, this is actually, upper looper is in green. Okay, so it's going here. It's going to go into this 3rd slot as usual. Okay. And this is going to go into the upper looper as usual. Again, I need the thread cradle. More. There we go. Okay, so far normal. So this is a normal wave stitch so far. There. Okay. Normal so far. What changes is what goes into the needle. So the needle has regular thread in it, and normally for the wave we're going to put this in this 4th slot. For the flat lock it's going to go into the number 2 slot, which is normally the lower looper. But instead this is going to go up and around and into the needle. Okay, and threaded it. That's what's nice about the Triumph, is that you don't need this threading tool because it has jet air needle threading. Contact your nearest Babylock dealer or call the store at www.soeasysewing.com in Bristol. I'll leave the phone number in the comments below. You can either sew this with your fabric wrong sides together like that. I'll do one of each. Or fold your fabric wrong sides together. And you're not going to cut it. The blade position doesn't matter. It can be locked or unlocked because you're not going to be cutting anyway. Okay, I'm going to line up my fabric with this inner edge of this foot. Okay, so which is about with the first needle. Okay, just to the right of that first needle. I'm going to go a little wide, a little longer. Okay, and now the magic begins because with a flat lock, look at that, it opened up. Totally flat. Looks like a whole different stitch. It almost looks like a zigzag with a line down either side of it. So it gives you a totally decorative stitch that's absolutely wonderful. So now this time I'm going to try it again with the two cut ends, and again I've got it wrong sides together. I'm going to put that blade back up because I do want it to cut this time. Okay, lower that presser foot and off we go. And sometimes it helps to give it a little bit of a firmness to the touch, pulling that fabric through. All right, here it's done. Oh, nice. See, it doesn't matter. It's a true flat lock, which is different than the pin tuck. Where'd the pin tuck go? Here it is. Here's the pin tuck, okay? And here is the flat lock. I think the flat lock for this purpose looks much nicer. Let me put that back to a 1 and let's see what we get here. I'm going to do this again. This time I'll let it cut over here. All right. Catch. There. I want to cut a lot. I want to cut all of that off. Okay, and here we go. This time is using the little bit, you know what? That looks really nice. Wow, I like that. Okay, here it is with the narrower stitch. Or not narrower. This is the one with the shorter stitch length, and here it is with the wider stitch length. You get a longer pattern, but that looks really nice. I like that. So I hope you enjoyed the new stitch. Okay, this concludes our session about how to use the wave stitch. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then go ahead and like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share. If you have any questions or comments, send me an email to me at waltzquilt@yahoo.com, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.